Hello, Macro. Who are you? My name is Wildlight. You actually know me pretty well. I'm actually the OG Respawn. Whoa, classic Respawn? The same Respawn that made Titanfall and Apex Legends? Yes, sirree. And as Wildlight, we're making a brand new game. One that we think you're gonna love. You're finally working on the spiritual successor to Titanfall 2! Wait, what? That's literally all I think about! Oh, I cannot wait to bring back the cardboard pilot helmet for the real fans. No, wait, that's not. I wonder if it still fits. Oh, man. Oh, God. Titanfall 3, here I come! Highguard is a new hero shooter developed by Wildlight Studios, which is a new studio comprised of a ton of original Respawn developers who worked on the Titanfall series and Apex Legends, which is a fun fact that most people learned when Jeff Keighley introduced it at the end of the Game Awards.
Our final world premiere comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends and Titanfall.
And this trailer received an overwhelmingly negative response. The Highguard trailer was less than ideal, feeling a tad bit generic. Plus, the idea of another hero shooter in 2026 just did not excite most people. But also, it was pretty unclear what this game was even about. I guess we wouldn't know until it dropped. But you know me, I'm always down to give every hero shooter a shot. So when I got an email asking if I wanted to try it out early, it was a no-brainer. So, what is Highguard? What makes this any different than Overwatch or Apex Legends or any other hero shooter? Let me explain. Highguard introduces a new game mode that they call Raid. The way it works is 2 teams of 3 players each have a base that they need to defend from the enemy. First, you'll select your Warden, and then you'll choose your base. There are multiple layouts for your base, and your team will vote on the layout you want before the match begins. But before any raiding begins, you'll first need to gear up. You'll spawn with low-tier versions of whatever guns you want to use, and a raid tool. The guns in this game are aesthetically a little more arcane, steampunk in style, but gameplay-wise, they're staple FPS guns. Some will feel like Apex Legends, you got your R301, Peacekeeper, Hemlock, Wingman, but they each have their own quirks. Except you're just an AK-47. Like, what? In the gear up phase, you will find higher tier guns, armor, helmets, tools, and other items. You can also melee with your axe to farm materials, which you can use to just buy gear from the shop run by Kuben Blisk. I mean, this other guy.
Okay, time for some combat. We can start by firing your weapon.
The shop's inventory doesn't carry every weapon, it will randomly have higher tier ones, but it does help with minimizing some of the RNG, especially if you need armor. While the axe itself is not that great for using in combat, it can be used to tear down destructible walls. But for the most part, it's there so you can pretend you're playing Fortnite. After you gear up, the Shieldbreaker sword will spawn on the map, and both teams will fight to acquire it, as this is the only way to actually enter the enemy base. Once a player picks up the Shieldbreaker, that player will be marked on the minimap, and will also have a large aura that their enemies can see. If the person holding the sword dies, then it'll be dropped and another player can pick it up. So your goal here is to get the Shieldbreaker to the enemy base or die trying. Also, while all of this is happening, you can ride your steed, which makes you much more mobile and helps traverse the larger areas of the map. While you're riding your steed, you don't take any fall damage. Oh yeah, there's fall damage in this game. You can't be on your steed on every area of the map, but most of the map. And your steed can be a horse or a bear or whatever the fuck this is. And also, your steed can die if it's shot at, and that will stun you for a bit, so don't assume that you're safe on your horse, you noob. And your horse will get stronger and faster when you find or buy better saddles. Also, you can always teleport back to your base. That way, if the enemy is on their steed across the map, you're not caught off guard. In this game, you'll have unlimited respawns on your base. Or you can even spawn on your teammate that has the Shieldbreaker. But when you die, you'll become a soul orb. Your teammates can pull you out of your soul orb and revive you, and the cool part is you can do this while moving. But enemies can destroy your orb to siphon shields and make it so you cannot be revived. So when you revive mid-fight, it can feel so clutch. So after fighting for the Shieldbreaker, if no one has successfully brought it to the enemy base, overtime will happen, creating a sudden death situation, where you only have 1 life to finish this phase. So this phase will end if the Shieldbreaker gets to the enemy base, or if a team gets wiped in overtime. In both scenarios, the losing team's base will lose 30 health immediately. However, in overtime, if both teams just don't die once the clock runs out, then the raid will begin at the base where the Shieldbreaker was closest to, and no bases will take any damage. So that way you can't just camp on your side of the map with the sword. But regardless of how it happens, now we have a big battering ram teleports in and breaks down part of the enemy base's shield. The attacking team now has a limited amount of lives during this phase, and you could spawn anywhere around this big battering ram. On offense, your goal is to plant a bomb on one of these 3 bomb sites. And on defense, your goal is to defuse and eliminate the enemy team's lives to end the raid. The A and B bomb sites are usually easier to get to and will blow up after 40 seconds, dealing 35 damage to the base. But there's also a bomb site called the Heart, which is usually a lot more difficult to get to and will take a full minute to blow up. However, if you do manage to blow it up, you will immediately win the match. So games can sometimes end in the first raid phase. However, the defenders do have a lot of options that give them an advantage. They can fortify any of the destructible walls in their base, and all of the doors and windows in the base can only be opened by the defending team, which makes it a lot easier for them to work around the walls. However, all of these walls and doors can be destroyed by either shooting them, using abilities, or using your raid tool. There's 3 raid tools: a rocket launcher, a sledgehammer, and a zipline. The rocket launcher and sledgehammer blow up walls, while the zipline helps you traverse the base and get around enemy fortifications. So if you don't fully blow up the enemy base before you run out of lives, or if you run out of time, the raid phase will end. If no bomb was successfully blown up, then the defenders will deal 30 damage to the raiders for having a strong defense. And then you go back and do it all over again. But the second time around, the loot you'll find will be higher tier. And also a care package with a care package weapon will drop. And that weapon is this broken LMG. Like, oh my god, it does so much damage. Eventually, you'll get gold tier loot, which is the strongest version of everything. Gold tier weapons will have a unique extra bonus effect like shooting twice or higher headshot damage, and most weapons have multiple options, so make sure to read up on what each gold version does. There's also different specific items that are one-off uses, like the dome splitters, which can open the enemy dome at a different area, or the thumper, which is just a big-ass time bomb for blowing up walls. There's also amulets that give you a unique perk like faster cooldowns or faster revives, and the higher tier versions of raid weapons also have special perks, like going invisible on a zipline. So as the game progresses, things get a lot stronger and crazier. So the first team to successfully blow up the enemy base wins. And if the enemy team only has 5 health left, you don't even have to plant a bomb. The moment you stick the sword in, you just win.
The shield breaker!
Okay, so that is the core gameplay loop of Highguard in a nutshell. The devs have called it a raid shooter, since it really does feel like its own unique thing. But this is also a hero shooter, so let's talk about the heroes. The Warden's designs feel inspired by World of Warcraft and League of Legends, with natural magical elements fused with steampunk technology. On launch, there's 8 Wardens. You got Shan Yu from Mulan, Bird Person, Genericus, Hulk, On Ice, Hot Goth Cthulhu, Literally Mother, Sandy Cheeks, and Ken Masters. No, seriously, he even has the Ken Masters skin in the store. It's wild. Each Warden has a passive ability, a regular ability, and an ultimate ability. And every Warden also has the ability to throw a grenade that's on cooldown, so you don't have to loot for grenades in this game. The Warden's abilities will feel familiar if you've played other hero shooters. Scarlet's ultimate is literally Jett's ultimate from Valorant, let's just be honest here, but that doesn't mean it's not fun.
On heart. I made zips to heart. Behind us, I'm back. Middle, low ground. Middle. Yeah. Oh my god. Let's go.
But seeing how these abilities interact with the shield breaker phase and the raid phase is what makes them all interesting. Some Wardens excel at breaching. You can be loud and destructive with Redbane's claws to break down walls and his ultimate scream that breaks down every wall in sight. Look at how many walls I destroyed. Or you can go in and be sneaky by playing Scarlet. You can go invisible and you can phase through walls. While other Wardens are better at defending a position. Una, who is my personal favorite Warden, spawns little minions that throw concussion grenades at enemies. They're super cute and super annoying, and her ultimate is an even bigger minion that throws grenades at enemies. And all of these little creatures make holding down a point really easy. Una, no, dos, no, tres, no, mucho. Kai is another Warden that's great on defense because you can block people off with his ice walls. And he can repair your base's walls as well. And when you're ready, you can become a frost giant and terrorize the enemy team to death. Like, oh my god, this thing is awesome. There's also more supportive wardens like Condor, who can scan and smoke out enemies, controlling her Condor like a Call of Duty AC-130, or Mara, who can give extra shields to their team and create a spawn point for their teammates. And if you're a fan of just doing a ton of damage, Atticus has these shock spears that will annoy your enemies. And his ultimate might be the strongest in the game for getting kills. No joke. Like, you can't even hide indoors. His ultimate breaks walls. And for some reason, Highguard made him the face of this game. When Una looks so much cooler, she was right there, man! And if you like to create space, Slade's magma will force enemies into bad positions, and then you can throw down his ultimate, which is essentially a Gibby ult, but with magma. You're literally raining down hellfire. Every Warden has something unique to bring to the table, and it's up to you to figure out which one fits your playstyle. Or you can just play them because you like their design. All power to you. I kind of sped ran through each of these Wardens. If there's a lot of interest in Highguard, I might do individual for noobs videos on these characters. Una for noobs, thoughts? Okay, I think with that, I have explained pretty much everything you need to know about this game. So now allow for me to review it by first going over things I like and things I don't like in the... This is clearly a game made by ex-Respawn developers, because the movement and gunplay feel fantastic. The weapon diversity here felt good, and each felt super satisfying to land kills with. The voice acting is top-notch, with a few overlapping voice actors from Apex Legends. Trust me, you'll notice.
Mother of trees grows restless.
The steed creates an interesting movement mechanic where you can jump off of it and carry that momentum into a slide and kind of finesse going on and off of it, and will definitely lead to people like Moki Sniper coming up with steed bunny hopping tech or something. I don't know, but I'm just really hyped for that. And then when you're finally in the bases and off the steeds, the combat becomes much more intimate and intense. It almost has this arena shooter vibe to it that I thoroughly enjoyed. With all the wardens and weapons and items at your disposal, you have a lot of freedom to play the game how you want to. I genuinely think that some of the character designs are phenomenal. Even the ones I don't love, you can see the love and care they put into their kits, and how their backstory is reflected in their design. When the game releases, every character will have trailers explaining their backstories. So currently I don't know what they are, but as a fan of lore in games, I'll be eating it all up. The cosmetic designs are also pretty nice. I mean, Atticus has a Dune outfit. Listen like Aib! And with the world that they built out, they have a lot of ways to make cosmetics that still fit their vibe. Also, according to the devs, the battle passes don't expire. This is a good thing. We over at the Macro Show are not fans of FOMO. And on top of all that, there's a bunch of free cosmetics earned by leveling up and doing challenges, so you can look drippy without spending a penny. I also like the maps and base designs. Some layouts are more open than others, but they feel distinct and fit their aesthetic that they're going for. Also, apparently ranked is dropping in 2 weeks, so people that want a more competitive experience can be happy to know it's right around the corner. And of course, the biggest pro is that this game is 100% free to play. All characters will be unlocked, and you don't have to spend a dime to play it. My biggest issue with the game can be summed up in one sentence. It's doing too much. A lot of what it's doing is good, but there is some fat that can be trimmed or streamlined here. My biggest issue with the core gameplay loop is the looting / gear up phase. It just feels like it's stalling us from the actual fun phases. While it is only 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes between every raid, and after multiple rounds even in one day, it was getting a little tedious. Especially the Fortnite axe thing to mine resources. I despise doing this every single game, but I have to mine because you kind of need money to buy things. But you can tell that this is just a time waster because they put the freaking mined resource right next to the vendor. Hey Blisk, you're just leaving $100 bills on the floor. Are you stupid? And then looting isn't really that interesting either. It feels more like a chore in this game, especially when you already found the weapons you want to use. You would think that once you find good weapons, you'd be done looting, but you also need armor and multiples of it, because when you die, you lose the armor that you had. So I end up going on long fetch quests, mining a bunch of materials, opening a bunch of blue chests, mostly just to stock up on armor, and just spending most of the currency on armor. And it's just like, why are we doing this? It's funny that they're ex-Respawn developers that didn't realize how awesome Evo shields were, because looting for armor sucks. And the worst part about the looting phase is that you could fight other people, but there's absolutely zero incentive to fight enemies during this phase, because they don't drop any loot. So there's there's really no stakes here. You're like a monkey opening loot boxes for a few minutes and then you play the actual game. I just think this gear up phase needs to be overhauled because its removal could lead to faster games with more action because some of these games can be very long. But they can't get rid of the axe mining because they gotta sell axe skins. Okay, next con. From a design perspective, a few of these Wardens look pretty generic. While you have bangers like Redmayne, Una, and Kai, characters like Condor, Slade, and Atticus just don't spark that same hype. Hopefully they dive deeper into the stranger and wilder concepts for future characters because I think the foundation is there, but we can go bigger with characters. I'm also not sure how to feel about the bases. While I like the variety it can provide to the game, ultimately, if there's clearly a base that works best with the best character and team composition, people will always end up choosing it. And I think that down the line, it will lead to a lot of the same bases being used over and over and over again. Sure, sometimes those bases won't show up when you vote, but I feel like it would almost be better to not let players have that option, because that ends up being 2/3 of the gameplay. But we will wait to see what the meta becomes as the game progresses onward. And lastly, some of these cosmetic prices are a tad bit high, which I genuinely wouldn't mind if I could buy some of these skins individually. Like, I don't want this character skin, but I want this gun, or I want this steed only. Giving players more freedom on how they can spend their money is always a better option for both the player and the company. Overall, I really feel like that initial trailer at the Game Awards was a blessing in disguise because everyone's expectations were astronomically low. And this game is way better than that trailer made it seem. It's trying a new fresh gameplay idea with some familiar gunplay and fun characters to play as. It's by no means perfect, but the core idea has a ton of potential. And I think it's 100% worth giving a try at least. Because what do you have to lose? It's free. So I'll be giving Highguard an 8 out of 10. But what do you think? Have you played Highguard? And if so, what would you rate it? Also, who is your favorite Warden? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, I gotta go fix my Titanfall helmet in case they decide to shadow drop Titanfall 3 anyway. So, I'll catch you later. Ya noob.